Hello, fabulous people. This is the Together podcast, and this is the place where Cherise and I come together to help you get it together for your everyday business life. So we hope you enjoy. Okay, so now we are recording. I am feeling just a tad bit under the weather, and it's my wrist. Like, I don't know what's going on with it. It's a little swollen or something, and I don't know if I slept on it wrong or not. But it is hurting. It just feels like it's taking all of my energy and attention. I'm like a little kid. Like, what's going on? What's going on?
Well, let's send some good healing energy over that wrist this morning.
Thank you. So
and take all that pain out of it and any inflammation or whatever it is that's in there. So you need to take something for inflammation this morning.
I did.
Good.
I did. So, and maybe that was it because I was off from taking my vitamins for a couple of days, but this is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so that's where I am. And so I give the floor to you, Cherise. How you doing? How's your 5 a.m.s been going? Your new not product, but kind of line you've been doing. I can't think of a good name. I can't think of it. Program.
It's been going good.
Program. There we go.
Yeah, it's been going really, really good. Just, ironing out the kinks and stuff. And the crazy part is all the new ideas that are coming from it. So it's like, that's a good thing, but it's like, wait, let me finish this before all these, new amazing ideas are popping up. But, the good thing is now that I feel like I'm coining a process in my strategy.
Yes.
And realizing like, this is the way I learn. This is the way I hear. This is the way I communicate. This is how I teach, and that's my process. And that feels good, So I'm excited about that. I am done with the curriculum. And now it's just kind of ironing back through and making sure, everything is edited and all that good stuff so I can go, take care of all the legal stuff. So it's exciting. So I really want to just encourage and inspire everyone, whatever it is you've been working on, don't quit, don't give up. Whatever idea you had 10, 20 plus years ago that was so amazing, you wrote down and you feels like it's been in the dirt, in the dark. It's like, pick it back up, and keep working on it because it was there for a reason. And I'll go back to the quote in the book, The Science of Getting Rich. There's a quote in there that talks about your original thought come from God. So any original thoughts that you have, those were God thoughts. Those were source thoughts.
Wow.
So you have to commit to those thoughts and ideas.
Yeah.
And, don't let them go. Don't let them go.
You know what? As I have looked back over let me say two things. First, y'all, it's so important for you guys to write things down. It is so important. Just whether it's daily journaling or maybe a things to do list that has a little journal, but somewhere where you are keeping these ideas, kind of capturing them. Yeah. Because when you go back and read them, you'll realize, oh, wait, I've been doing this for 5 years. Oh, wait, I had this idea 10 years ago. Oh, wait, because they're going to come back up. Like they'll come back up and they'll come back up and they'll come back up. And they'll come back up in the seasons. It's so funny. But I've looked back and been like, wait a minute, I did this. I was going through the same thing. In January 2020, where I had and like I'll look back and I would have written the whole plan out, like the whole plan. One place I had written a whole curriculum out real quick, because it's so funny when it comes to you. And so write it down, like please write it down. Write it down. Okay. Second thing is start writing everything in one consistent place.
Yeah.
in one consistent place. And so that's a mistake that I've made over the years is I was on OneNote for a while. So all my stuff was in OneNote for a while. And then I was in like regular journals for a while. And so half my stuff is in there. Well, 25%. And then I have some stuff in Google Docs. And so I have stuff all over the place. And it's hard for me sometimes to go back and figure out, where did I write that at? Like, what was I doing that? And so if you can get one consistent way, and if you can't get one consistent way, at least track kind of where you are. Like, all of this stuff is in OneNote, or I was working in OneNote from 2019 to 2023, something like that, so that you can go back and find these things when you get it. Because it's so amazing how you can get ideas randomly. Like, I was with my stylist a couple of weeks ago, and we were just talking about just basic things you would need to know to start a micro business. And so while she was doing my hair and I was just on my phone typing, we developed a whole curriculum. A whole curriculum, like right there in the span of like an hour. Oh, what I need to know this. Oh, they need to know this. Oh, what I need to know this. Oh, what they need to know this. They need to know this. And so we got that all done, and I sent it off to her. So she's gonna start doing that. So anyway, so write it down. It's so cool. It can just come.
How valuable your stylists are.
I do. I value my stylist. I always have. And all of my stylists have been people that I can rock with forever. So I've had her over 20 years.
Oh wow.
And I can't remember what happened. Why I needed to. What was going on?
Your early mornings, remember? That might have been.
That's right. It was early morning. I remember too. Samantha was like, Nicole got a stylist that starts 4 a.m. Wait, what? Okay, I'm gonna need that number immediately. So that's what it is. I need it.
That's how I built so many of my solid relationships, that schedule. And I always say, I say it over and over again, that's a different type of woman that will meet me at that time of morning. And a lot of my really solid relationships came from that.
Yeah, that's funny. That's amazing. So, all right. So today you had said you wanted us to talk about the spirit, bringing a spirituality into business. And so I'm so excited about that, because I do that a lot and I never thought about it. Last year my business was really off. And so I started really kind of praying over my business, confessing over my business and things like that. But I've never thought about to talk about it. It just felt like a personal thing that I was going through and that I needed to get right. So I'm excited and ecstatic and ready to take notes on what you're going to say about this today.
Yeah, so I'll start with, I'm in a program with Stephanie Sinclair called Big Bag Summer. And we were talking about, and we're reading through Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And gosh, that book, she was asking us, what was our overview of the book? And I've been reading that book for years. And and I will always, it's one of the types of, it's like the Bible, you can open it up. I got it marked up so good. You can open it up and any page you go to, it's like just some amazing information, right? So for me, my overview was about taking ownership and responsibility, for where you are in life, period. And, where you want to go, where you want to be, who you want to become. And one of the other ladies, she was talking about, spirituality, like, her spiritual process, her spiritual rituals, her prayer, her meditation, and how she, implements it just in life, but not in business. Ooh. So in the book, they have the 4 quadrants: the mental, the spiritual, the physical, mental. It's one more, but either way, it's like we talk about the physical, and we talk about the mental, maybe, but more so we talked about the physical part of business, like the execution and the implementation, but we weren't really focusing on the spiritual. So my thought was, okay, but they go together.
Yeah.
Right. They really go together. And I think where a lot of women in business are missing the mark is you're not bringing the spirituality into the business, into the forefront of the business. For me personally, I think it's important because I think that's where the connection is. When people really get to know who you are, how you move, like, you know, how are you moving like this? How are you getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning? You know, and meeting people on time and setting the atmosphere for the people and already there on time when they show up. You know, what mindset is that? And, you know, that's the feminine side of your business. That is the true connection, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of women who are struggling in business, you know, with finances, which are a lot, even if you're not necessarily struggling, but you're hitting a wall, right? And you're not getting over that hump. It might be a quite successful hump, but you know, you can do more. But it's like, if you're not, you know, getting more leads, if you're not making more connections, it's because you're probably not bringing that feminine side, that spiritual side, and that side that's going to connect with the women who want to connect with you, your brand.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason why that popped up for me was, I remember, you know, the whole feeling good as hell formula, why it came about. That was my formula to get me through. So how could I possibly keep that a secret, you know, from my tribe? Right. I don't know if you remember, but I told you how, for me, it was so corny. Like, it ain't no book. I'm not writing a book about this. I'm not telling anybody what I did. Like,
you
know, it was just because it was mine. I felt like it didn't have enough substance, you know, or enough, you know, it didn't have enough of a foundation because it was what I did to get through my go through. But when you realize so many people are going through similar situations, but this is what got me through. And there are other people who need that simple information.
Right.
And if it got you through, why wouldn't it get others through?
Say that. Yeah.
Right. So and there we go. We don't see value in our own journey.
I think that's one of the things is, we always hear people say, your test is your testimony. Your test turns into your testimony. Your test turns into your testimony. We hear it all the time. Yeah. And yet when it happens to us, we can't identify that that's what's going on. We had a test and now it's time for us to turn around to do a testimony to help somebody else. And I'm not sure why we do that, but I definitely do. I think maybe because it feels so personal. It doesn't to turn into your testimony feels so grand or when people tell their stories, it feels so grand. And I think our pain just feels so personal. And so, like we were so alone in our pain, that it feels that nobody else is dealing with this, you know?
Especially
if you're looking at everybody on Facebook and Instagram looking like they living their best lives, then you're like, well, nobody needed this but me. I was the only one who's going through this. And I think just want everybody to know that's not the truth. That's not the truth at all. And that there's somebody going through what you're going through and much worse. And so remember.
Oh, yes. And you know, that goes back to that imposter syndrome. You know, it really the foundational thing is that unworthiness and that imposter syndrome. You know, your story and your journey is so valuable to someone else, but you, when you're in it, you just don't see value in it until you're on the other side of it.
Right.
You know, but back to the spirituality of it is so important for you to bring it into the forefront of your business. I believe, like I said before, that is a huge part of you connecting with your audience, with your tribe. And how do you do it? Everyone doesn't do it the same. You know, I'm a big morning person. So morning time is important for me, but I'm also easily distracted. So the reason why my morning rituals are so important to me is because I have to be able to tap in to my any part of any piece of the ritual at any time to get my focus back. So if I start in the morning, even if I don't go through a whole some long hour, which is not usually that unless I'm going through my challenge or something with a group. If I can get a few minutes in, I can go through them really quick as long as I went through them, and it's easy for me to tap in at any point in the day when I feel myself getting off. So I think it's a huge part of who you are. And I believe it's a huge part of what you should be sharing with your people for that connection. Yeah.
Okay. So there was a little part of me that just said, but I don't want to look like some super saved Christian that's woo woo and I don't want to turn my people off.
You got to be willing to be who you are. A lot of people are called to the super saved Christian people. A lot of people are not. You just got to know who you are and not be afraid to be who you are and speak on what it is that you believe. Like, that's one thing I really love about the time that we're in. It's about connecting with the people who you are called to connect with. So I don't believe that you should be so politically correct. There's an etiquette, there's a business etiquette and there is a spiritual etiquette. There's just proper etiquette, period. But you not being authentic to who you really truly are, even your evolution. Because a lot of us are just being awakened to a truth now that, some things that we were taught and programmed when we were younger. And now we have wisdom and we know different, but we are also still figuring it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So within that, you have to, use wisdom and use discernment and how to speak about that in your tribe. Yeah. There's only so far that I go. I don't talk politics at all, period.
Gotcha.
Because I just don't, that's not my area. I don't know politics, I hear about it. I let people tell me about it. And I'm just very basic when it comes to politics. So I don't touch it. Spirituality and religion, I really don't, but I will speak about how I feel about my transition and my reprogramming about what I believe, which has nothing to do with you. This is my journey. And this is something that I choose to study and show thyself approved so that my spirit can be settled right.
Wait, hold on. I want to say, okay, because it's a whole lesson in what you just said. Okay. When you are your authentic self, you will call people to you that it will be a match. And they'll be saying stuff and it'll jump or hit in your spirit and they'll have no idea. And so that whole study to show thyself approved is one of my things. And you don't know that, but just you saying that and being yourself align me with you even more. Like, oh, she's speaking my language now. Like she hit on one of my things. And so it's about 5 or 6 of them that you just you've held on to, and that would be one of them. And so I just want to further iterate your point of being your authentic self, because authenticity is going to sell you or endear you to people in a way that you won't even understand. And so you'll be having a regular conversation, just being you, but something you're going to say that's just you will align with them so much that they won't be able to let you go. And I had an old pastor, and he said one thing in one sermon, and it has endeared me to him for life. Like I will always kind of follow him and check up on him because of that one thing. It was one line. He said, because right there in my time, in that time period, I was going through, I was in grad school, and I was telling myself, just keep swimming. Like, and I think Finding Nemo. And so it was like, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. That's all I was saying. And then he said in his sermon, faith swims. And I was a girl, like I could have jumped up out my seat, and all because of that, I feel aligned with him. It's like he got me, he understood. Like faith swims. And so just keep swimming, and then faith swims. And so back around to the main point, just be you, be your authentic self. Show up in whatever spiritual way you want to show up that's authentic to you, and people will align with you and you won't even know it. The pastor probably has no idea that he got me forever. If he called right now, I was like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. I want you to help out. Yes, sir. Because that one line got me the rest of the way through grad school.
Exactly. And to me, that's ministry. And that's why, I'm so big on people showing up. Show up as who you are, and keep, and have fun figuring it out, and have fun with the people. Show up and enjoy this journey with the people. Stop hiding, because you have so much to share. Every person, every human is important. Every human has a purpose. It might not be, this social media. It might not be big. You might be assigned to one person, on this journey. But show up and do what you're supposed to do, and keep figuring out more about you and your journey.
Yeah, definitely so.
So what about you, Natalie? Tell us about your spiritual practices and how, you've evolved in that.
I don't know if I've evolved. I feel like I've been trying to do the same thing for the last 40 years, and I finally figured out how to do it. Finally got enough information in my head to figure out how to do it. So, and now I'm fine. I'm tweaking. So, so let me say, keep trying to figure it out. And so whatever spiritual practice you're trying to put into your life, keep trying to figure it out. And so many people, I don't want y'all, because I want to actually don't figure out how to put it all together until after the age of 40. It's something about 40 and that mid period, and like I'm old enough, and now you're just able to make better decisions. Now I don't know what happens, but something happens at 40. So if you make it before 40, yay! If you don't make it to after 40, know that you're right with the rest of us. So know that there's a magic to 40 that just things start to click and you can do it. One of the things that my spiritual practice involves is first kind of writing out affirmations. So the things that you're wanting in your life that you're trying to bring to fruition, putting them and writing them every day. Now, I haven't gotten 7 days a week consistently yet. I'm usually about 4 to 5 out of the 7. On a good week, I'm 5 out of the 7, and I'm okay with that because I know I'm still fine tuning what I want my weekends to look like, what my weekend morning routine, what I want it to look like. And so on a good week, I'm 5 out of the 7 days. So writing it down, that's a part of it. And that just keeps it on the forefront of your mind of what you're trying to do, because your mind is so, let me say my mind and a lot of people, we can get caught up in the new and shiny. And, I forgot I wanted that. I forgot I was working on that. I forgot that's something that I had wanted. And so writing those same things out every day keeps your mind, keeps you focused on where you're going. Like this is the goal. This is the goal. This is the goal. This is the goal. All right. So that's a major part of my practice. And then praying, and I have a prayer list of what I'm praying for and praying over and kind of what I'm believing God for. And on that prayer list, like I make a line down the page because there's a space for me to write the date of when this happened. And so with this answer to a prayer, okay, I got this answer on this date, or this contract came through on this date or something, because I have learned I will forget what God has done for me in the past. I will be in a place like, oh my God, and I can't figure this out, and it's not going to work, and da da da. And so keeping that running list, or being able to go back and say, okay, God did this, 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 and it builds my faith so that, okay, we can do this, we can do this. And then last year, I really, when I was kind of struggling with the business, and it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like it was more than me messing up. Like I was fucking up, but it was more than, it just felt like it was more than me. And so I really started adding kind of declarations and decrees to my spiritual practice. And so I have several things, like I declare and decree, blah, 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 blah. I declare and decree, blah, 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 blah. And specifically over my business. And so I think before I was just praying over kind of goals and life in general, but now it's specifically, you know, over my business. I declare and decree these are going to be our referral sources. I declare and decree that we have favor, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. And I read several books around that on kind of what to declare and decree. And also, let me give credit where credit is due. Bill Winston is a minister out of somewhere. I don't know. He online, but he has a huge amount of confessions just on his website. Like you can just, he has a whole list of probably about 30 different confessions, and each confession is a good paragraph to a whole page long, and you can just go download those confessions. Some of them you can tell at the beginning and he didn't add the scriptures with them, but some of them he has definitely added the scriptures with them. And so that is a good starting point. And I probably should give them some money or something, because I have used several of his confessions. Girl, I went on there like I was shopping. I'm gonna take this one, 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 and downloaded them all. So that was just a wonderful resource. And that's about it. And now I think I'm just working on what my word for this year is, just consistency, because I really would like to get it to 7 days of the week, the same time every day. I think there's going to be, for lack of a better word, like a magic to, and magic in being my brain, heart, spirit, and soul knows at this time, at this day, this is when we're like spiritually open. I think there's going to be something to me getting consistent 7 days a week that I'm going to see. Okay, this is going to sound real woo-woo, y'all. But I think if I can get consistent and I'm doing like the same prayer, the same confession, the same decree every day of the week at the same time, I think I'm going to see like a power in my life that I haven't seen before. I've seen it once before. I've seen it once before, where I was that in tune.
The level of frequency, will definitely get you there. So I have a question for you. So for one, I'll start with, how would you explain your evolution in prayer over the years? From what you knew before and what you know now.
Ooh, I think before it was very much child and parent, kind of like, Mama, can I have 3 cookies? God, can I have 3 cookies? It was very much, God, you have all of the power and everything, and I just gotta hope that I catch you on a good day and you're gonna give it to me. Okay, so very much that. Now it is, okay, I'm gonna say this and it's gonna sound crazy. Now it ain't about God at all. I am working with God and I am working with that spirit, but it is about me getting my belief to a level that it happens.
Yeah.
And so it is understanding, for me, I think that God is an energy and he is working with me, but it is me who needs to do the work and get my faith and belief there. And so I read in this one book, I don't even know, The Science of Something. I have to look it up for you guys. But basically, the lady had said, and it was because she was talking about manifestation from the brain perspective, like the science behind it. And so she was saying, if something hasn't manifested in your life, you haven't repeated and believed it enough. Like you haven't gotten the pathways in your brain built enough to where you believe it.
Because, the belief.
based on Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer's book was When You Believe It, You'll See It.
Yeah.
And so now that's where I am kind of with my faith in God. It's not, oh God, please, da 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 da, like I'm a child and I have no power. If anything, my prayer to God is help my unbelief.
Yeah.
Because I know this thing can come to pass. I know we can make this happen. Mm-hmm. Help my unbelief. Like what's not clicking to where I'm not believing it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it is self-doubt, unworthiness, all the regular human stuff. You know, I'm not good enough to get this for whatever reason. And so that's where it is now. Yeah. And I have to say I like it because it gives you a lot more power and control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
All right. Okay, you answered the same question. How has it changed for you? Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. That was good. That was a really good question. Yeah.
Thank you. So for me, I have come to believe that, you know, God is not a he. I believe that, you know, God is an omnipotent power. Mm-hmm. I believe that God and I are one.
Yeah.
When now I understand that, you know, made in the image of God is that you are a God, you know, and you have the power that the word says we have. You know, we are, we dominate the earth. And that's where I feel like the programming, we were programmed to not believe that, to not understand it, to not walk in that worthiness. And that is part of the reprogramming that we are in now. Mm-hmm. For those who feel that way and are aware. And so in my prayer life, I have learned to pray for it one time, ask for it, and then go into the practice of believing it and walking in it. I do not ask for it again. I do not beg and plead.
Right.
Because I do not believe that that is of God, you know. Gotcha. Because to me, that's too much unbelief. That's too much unworthiness. That's too much lowliness. So if I ask once, now it's my job, like what you said, it's my job to walk in it. It's my job to take the action and, you know, allow, I won't say, I used to say make it happen, but now allow it to happen. Also, the spiritual aspect of it is that is your quiet time, that is your prayer time, that is your meditation time, your grounding time. And this is where I think a lot of the confusion comes in, is where people, the woo-woo stuff, people think that you know, the grounding and the yoga and the sage and all these things, you know, are not of God. Well, to me, and it's just my thought, it's however you choose to connect.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously, if you make a choice to connect this way, obviously it is in your spirit to connect this way. And if that's your way of connection, that's what you need to do. And you need to be confident in it and not be concerned about what others think. This is because the most important thing is your connection to source, because that's where your answers are. That is where your healing is. That is where your everything is, your connection with source. So you have to know that there has to be some authentic way that you connect most with source. And you have to be bold enough. You have to be confident enough to do what you got to do to connect with source, stay connected, and go about this earth and do your purpose work out here.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And one of my favorite sayings is there's more than one way up the mountain. There's more than one way. And so please stop thinking that everybody has to do it your way. They don't. Just they got to find their way. And human beings are so dynamic. So for somebody, it's taking a walk in nature. And it calms them down enough to where they can connect with their source. For somebody, it might be being in a church service. For somebody, it could be watching a TV show. And so there's so many ways for your spirit, mind, and soul to open up so many ways. And that's what you're trying to find for yourself. What is that way that puts you in that frequency, that zone, to where now you can hear clearly from your source or the super unconscious or whatever you want to call it, God, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. What do you have to do to get to that place, to get to that frequency? And just really figuring out what that is for yourself, and what practices help you get there faster and faster and faster and faster.
Yeah. I think one of the most important things that we can do is stay out of desperation. And I believe that staying connected to
oh my God, you talking to me today. Okay.
Because what does desperation do to you?
I had no idea. And I was just talking to somebody, my therapist. I was talking about therapist last night. And I'm feeling really desperate about a certain area of my life. And so she was like, okay, well, we got to keep you from feeling desperate. And I was like, I get that. I completely understand that. I know the principles behind that. But I was like, it's like you telling a hungry person not to be hungry. So how do I do that? And so I'm so interested for you to hear what you have to say today. Like, I got to pretend. So you want me to pretend not to be hungry? Because that's real hard, because I'm really hungry right now. So what? So yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
You have to define, okay? You have to define what that is. And that's where we're missing the mark. Like, we're not defining whatever it is, you know, how I want to do relationships, how I want to do money, how I want to anything. If you are skipping over defining, first of all, the self-awareness, let's be clear. So you're in self-awareness stage, right? You are fully self-aware that this is an issue for me. Okay. Take ownership, you know, become self-aware. Then you have to make the decision on, I'm going to define what this is. I have to, because if I don't put a name to it, if I don't
defining, I don't understand what this is.
So all right. So if you are, you have this space of desperation that obviously, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you keep coming back to.
Correct.
You know, which you're facing anxiety in this space, right? So anxiety shows up in many ways.
Okay.
So if you're not fully, obviously somewhere you're not fully facing it. Okay. Because.
Okay. So let's use the example of food. Okay. So I'm hungry and I'm desperate for food right now. And so in that, I don't feel anxious. I just feel hungry.
Okay. But hunger can cause what?
Hunger can cause me to do irrational things. So maybe I might steal for food. All right.
Which are forms of anxiety. Okay. So because you're feeling anxious because I need food. Food. So I'm very, very anxious right now. And because I need this food, I have to eat. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to die if I don't get food. That's literally how we feel.
Yeah.
But there are answers to that. Okay. Number one, because I'm the same. When it comes to food, like if I don't eat, I literally feel like I'm gonna pass out. So I can't get to the hangry stage. And I know I get in desperation. So I could be out. If I don't have a bite of something, if I go out walking in the sun, I will feel like I'm going to pass out or, you know, like ill. So for me, that makes me a little anxious. So I'm not going to go out and walk without food on a little bit of snack or something. So I had to define, okay, so this is anxiety. Maybe this is some sort of condition that I'm unaware of, maybe some sort of condition. But the answer to that is, I know I cannot go do a workout or take a walk without something on my stomach. A lot of people say don't do it because.
But you have to. Yeah.
But I have to. So I'm clear about that. So the trainer can't tell me, I can't follow your regimen and what you tell everyone else. I have to do this my way. And maybe I'll do it in a healthier way. But I have to do this for me. Got that defined. have faced that anxiety so I don't set myself up, because I could make a decision and say, oh, well, I'll be okay one day. And I get out there and I pass out.
Yeah.
Right. Or just feel ill. And then that affects me for the whole rest of the day, or, for however long. I just know how desperate I feel. And I don't like feeling that way, that desperation. But that desperation and that illness is also a feeling that can be addiction as well. Because a lot of people like feeling that, because they like feeling being the victim. So let's move away from it being food. Some people like being the victim in a situation. Oh, well, they did me wrong, well, they said this and said that. So now my feelings are hurt. So I'm not going to react the way I should, but those feelings and those actions can become addictions, right? Victimization. Some people like being the victim. Some people like, oh, I don't feel well. Well, you knew you were going to not feel well if you didn't do this. But you want to say, and y'all have to follow me, you want to say that I don't feel well. You want to put yourself in a position of not feeling well so that you can be the victim and someone can feel sorry for you so you can get some attention. Okay, so my thing is going to the core and figuring out, why would I do that? Why would I do that? So go back to your desperation situation. How many times have you faced this particular situation in desperation? This particular one? Is this a place that you keep coming back to?
Yes.
Okay. So the core of that core has to be completely cut. Why do you keep, and I know, this might be personal, but answer this in your best way possible. Why do you keep coming back to this situation, Natalie? What habit keeps bringing you back to this situation? Is it unbelief? Is it unworthiness? Is it why are you, and think of it this way, why am I addicted to keep coming back to this place? Because I keep coming back to it, and I perfectly well have the capabilities of not coming back to it. Do you or do you not?
Oh, that's a hard pill.
Are there some different decisions that you can make so that you do not come back to this situation again?
Okay, the right answer is yes. My head answer is yes. The therapist in me is yes. The person in me is just like, if I could figure it out, I would. But I think that's a good question. And
so there's a chord. There's a chord that's not being hit when it comes to making the right decision for yourself to get off that path, right? Something right there is not being hit. You're skipping over a step and a stage. There's something happening that you feel comfortable skipping over, but maybe unconsciously you don't realize you keep skipping it. It's something you're not facing.
Okay.
And in your mind, I know we're live, but in your mind, are there 3 things that you can write down for yourself that might hurt your feelings?
I think
hurt your own feelings.
Right.
So you don't want to face, that might be shameful, that might be embarrassing, or there's some things that you can write down that you won't face in this situation, that if you face it.
I think it boils down to, I'm not good enough. I think it boils down to, I'm not good enough.
Yeah. You know how many of us deal with that on a daily and don't even recognize it?
All of us.
And don't even.
All of us.
Every last one of us in some area.
Yeah.
But that's also imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So to me,
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like a therapist like you, and I love my Dr. Tori and Nicole B. Jackson.
Girl, and she fabulous. I love her.
Let me tell you something. I don't play around with therapy. My friends are therapists.
You're right. You're right. I need to call and check on Tori. But
yes, yeah, y'all are like the best I know because y'all hit those chords. You don't play. Now I know like this group here hasn't experienced you on that level, and I know we only have about 3 more minutes, but and I'll let you close us out. But you know, we talk so lightly here on the podcast. We get deep sometimes, but like when it comes to therapy, like a lot of people are playing around with people's lives when it comes to therapy.
Yeah.
People are not getting to the core of people's issues and trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's why people are out here suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in the group yesterday, Stephanie said something about a lot of people not liking her. And she said something that was so powerful. She's like, I'm not concerned about your feelings. I'm concerned about your transformation.
Ooh, that's so
I was like, ooh. I was like, I get that right there. I'm living by that because that is real. If you are out here to touch lives, change lives, you know what you and God got going on. You know what y'all have agreed to. You cannot be concerned about the people's feelings. You have to be concerned about their transformation. And that is the space that I had to shut everything down so that I could come to that because I care so much. You know, you got to take the money out of it, you know, because the money, if you got your business set up right, you got your system set up right.
Yeah.
Which is what I had to go back and do. Then you can go over here and then you can do your transformational work with the people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh. So that's why that spirituality, you know, that feminine and that masculine is so important. Yeah, you got to get the sales. You got to do business. You got to run business. But it'll run itself if you have it set up right. And then you can go do your spiritual and your feminine work.
Okay. You said so many good things. I don't even know where to start. Okay. I want to say to everybody that work we just did on desperation, I'm going to take that to heart. Girl, I might have to turn that into a whole lesson. So on that, of really looking at that. And that's a hard pill to swallow, to say, why do I keep winding up here in this spot? What's going on with me that I keep winding up in this spot?
Yeah.
That's so powerful. That's so much ownership that you just have to breathe on that one for a second. Like, what? This is me.
And
this
that
is my fault.
Does not feel
How do
good.
I feel? Girl, it don't feel good at all. I'm sitting in it and I'm telling you, it don't feel good. At the same time, though, I think you have to know, as I'm sitting here and it feels good and it doesn't feel good and it's hurting and I'm like, wait, what? Is you have to know that's your breakthrough. And so, like, if you're looking for a breakthrough on something, I just got a message from somebody and they're like, well, I've done all these programs and none of them have worked. None of them have worked. You done did multiple programs and none of them have worked. Okay, that's a you problem. We're gonna have to sit down and figure out what's going on with you. You problem. And figure that out. And why haven't you developed your own program? Because you have figured something out. So I'm gonna challenge y'all that if you got something in your life that you feeling desperate about, that you go sit down over the next week before we meet again, like I am going to have to do today, and figure out, okay, what's going on? What's going on?
That's the topic next week. Desperation. Getting out of desperation.
Let's get out of desperation.
That'll be our topic.
And sneak peek, I bet it's gonna have to do something with unworthy or not good enough, or something like that. And
next week gonna be good. So y'all need to make sure y'all show up.
That has to be oh, that's so good. I can't even say. Okay, Cherise, pop on Facebook and see if any of your people need to say anything before.
Yes, they're here. Good conversation, ladies. Yes, Natalie, that's it. Using the word now in your daily conversations and decrees is powerful and adds fuel to what you're focusing on. That's rich. Yep. So Thank you all so much for showing up. This was so good today.
This was so good. It was so what I needed. I can't believe we got to desperation. When
we're always in alignment. We're always in alignment.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. All right, everybody. Y'all have a good day. Yeah. Bye.
Happy Tuesday. Bye.